I want to do a video. I don't know why these glasses are not going to work. These are my computer glasses. Grab my grown up glasses. I want to do a quick stream on this subject because I'm working through something right now that's fairly technical. And I've run into sort of a little bit of a problem or an opportunity, I think, where I guess which is kind of following from a decision that I made where I want to do less. You know what? I have a light. I just remembered I have a light. Hang on. Let's do this. I totally forgot that I had this light. I don't know if it's helping at all. Let's see. Let's just leave it on. It's like right there, though, isn't it? Let's bring it over here. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's not. It's like it's exactly at the wrong spot. I have no idea how that is doing that. Okay, let's not do that. I have another use for that anyway. Okay. So just for to give a premise, I want to reduce the complexity of how I'm scheduling things. So when we think about tasks versus information these are two different things. And what I found was that I was getting so good at the mechanisms for presenting information to me that I was starting, and also with manipulating information as well, with vis-a-vis my schedule, that I started kind of abusing it a little bit. It was sort of like a little too powerful, and then with this sort of infinite ability to manipulate information on the screen and in my head and to remind me of things, I started to become overwhelmed because my ability to manipulate and make decisions with all this information and all these capabilities became more than I was able to sort of manage to a moderate degree. So I decided to implement a few things, and I talked about it in my prior videos, but let's not talk about those strategies right now. The important part to this video is that I've implemented some things to reduce or even completely remove the need for me to have much on my calendar, especially for my routine day in and day out things. Okay, so basically where I ended up, which I'm very excited about, is that there's ultimately not much that I need to remember in terms of what I need to accomplish today. And that's because of the way I'm handling my routine items, and also because of some filtering that I put in place just to reduce and simplify, my daily life, and filter out things that I just don't need to do. Okay, so that's all that really matters with respect to that. Now, from an information and strategy and goal perspective, there's still quite a bit of information that I need and reminders that I need. So And I'll give you some, let me give you some examples just so it even makes any sense. Let me go in here. I think I'm doing it in Gmail. This is as good as anything. So I have some reminders related to food, right? And in this case, I have 3 reminders of things about lunch, and they're basically about food. And essentially, it's like, you know, reminding myself of things that I can eat that are what I call fast food, but it's clean fast food. It's stuff that I make at home, and is quite easy to prepare, and partially in some cases because it's already prepared. So, but I need that reminder, right? So what I want to do is I want this strategy to say, hey, don't forget about these 6 things that you can eat, you know? And I know what they are. It's like, I don't even need, it's weird, but I don't even need the list, even though I put the list in here because I can. But what I want to remember every day at around lunchtime, like before lunchtime, actually, are these, just to pick 2 things, right? One is, don't let myself get what I call pizza hungry, right? So if I don't eat until I'm ravenously hungry, I make bad decisions. It's like, it makes no sense, but somehow I convince myself that I'm so hungry, I need to eat so fast, I'm going to go get a pizza. That's what I do. It's just the way my brain functions. So I want to remember, like, or for one thing, don't let that happen. And then the second thing is, even if it happens, you've got stuff you can eat. There are these things you can eat, and I don't even need the list of the things, but I just need to remember that there are things that I can eat to keep myself going, right? And if I do both of those things, then I really can maintain a level of calories and energy to carry me through the day. But if my energy sort of drops, then my brain starts to go, and then I make bad decisions, and then I feel the consequences of those decisions and all that. Okay. So that's just an example, right? No, so this is not like eat food or have lunch or cook food. It's more just information. It's a strategy, and it's a strategy that I have that isn't really going to help me in the morning if I just look at this strategy and say, hey, don't get too hungry or something. It's not going to help me. When I need that information is I need it when I'm approaching lunchtime. It's like, hey, lunch is coming up. Don't fuck these things up. And so that it's like a strategy. It's information. It's a reminder. It's me talking to my future self and stuff like that. Okay. So what I just explained is different from a task that I need to do, right? And I should also I think it's worth saying, like, the task of eating lunch, this is kind of messed up because this is the reason I'm having some of these problems, but I don't have a task or anything on my calendar anywhere around eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And the reason I don't have that is that I'm trying to implement this other strategy that I call, there's 2 strategies actually, but the main one is called SEEM, SEEM, which stands for sleep, eat, exercise, and meditate. Because it's those 4 things are the only 4 things I need to do on, like every day, right? Those are the only 4 everyday things that I need to do. And there's nothing else that I need to do. That's it. There's not a single other thing that I need to do every day. Nothing, right? So it gives me this simplicity and And it's very convenient because not only do I know that those are the only four things, I know when they take place, and also I know generally when they take place. So like the eating, like dinner part of eating, exercise, and meditate all happen after hours, after the workday. But, and this is where I started running into these problems over engineering this and trying to make the routine like I'm going to eat dinner and then I'm going to meditate and then I'm going to exercise. It just doesn't work out that way. Sometimes I have something to do in the evening. That means that it probably doesn't may not make sense to go to the gym first, or maybe I'm hungry, so then I need to eat. And then if I eat, I don't want to go to the gym right after eating, so then maybe meditating and maybe hitting the grocery or something like that is a better thing. Sometimes I have laundry I want to run in the evenings, stuff like that, right? So it's even with those very simple things, there's quite a bit of like dynamics associated with me internally, what's going on in my life, the universe, the weather, anyone else that might need help. It just never works out to where it's like A, B, and C. And so having the seam thing allows me to remember what it is. Like, these are the four things. I'm also aware of the fact that it doesn't make sense to like try to piece this together in the morning or whatever in my calendar, because I really don't know until the evening hits. Like, it's like the clarity of the moment, right? I talk about the clarity. I have no clarity around today until today, right? But then I get more clarity in the hour, right? And then I have ultimate clarity in the moment. As long as I'm not incapacitated with ravenous hunger or something like that. Okay, so enough of that. So there's these two pieces, and there's a task kind of piece, and that I still need the calendar for, including, I should clarify this, in the moment when I get to the evening, if I need to coordinate some things or I want a little reminder from the calendar about something, to do something, like let's say I've decided to have dinner and then I do want to meditate and I probably want to go to the gym at 7 o'clock. I want that to pop up on my screen. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with using the calendar, using notifications to make myself aware of something. I just don't want to get wrapped around the axle with all that. But anyway, like I said, there's task stuff in the calendar, and then there's and just because I'm trying to reduce the amount that I use the calendar and that I rely on the calendar for with these routine things, doesn't mean that I might have a doctor's appointment or I've got a social engagement or I'm doing a stream or something like that. It's all totally legit to be doing these tasks and using the calendar to do the tasks. So that's tasks, but the other side of this is like just being mindful, or a strategy around remembering something about, like this evening, like don't let yourself get hungry, ravenously hungry, and do stupid things. And it's that kind of information that I need to figure out how to deliver. And so I have this vehicle, or this, it's like a vehicle. I call it a communications vehicle, and I call it I think I'm going to call it persistent reminder, or I used to also call it continuous reminder, but I'm going to call it a persistent reminder. And this is, I implement this persistent reminder. So let me back up a second. A persistent reminder, technically, like functionally, is something that will display on my phone's lock screen all day. Okay. And I have one now that is called mindfulness, because I want to be mindful. Carte blanche, which is I don't have any urgent or critical things due today. And carte blanche goes along with binary non-sequencing, which I can talk about later. And then there's a third one, which is like watching the clock. I want to get in the habit of wondering what time it is. Okay. I don't want to have clocks all over my apartment. I don't want anything like that. I don't want alarms going off all the time. But my idea is to see if I can train myself into the habit of looking at what time it is and recognizing what's going on. Like right now, it is 11:51 a.m., which means I'm getting close to moving into another hour. And so if I look at my lock screen on my phone, I should probably be aware that anything that was for the current hour, I'm going to lose. It's going to fall off of my screen, right? So I'm just trying to get into this mode like, can I survive without? In fact, 11:51 is exactly when, at 9 minutes prior to the hour, that is the time that I would be, like an alarm would be going off, kind of warning me about the next hour, which would be the noon hour, right? Okay. And I can talk ad nauseum about that, but that's neither here nor there for this purpose. All I wanted to do was to give an example of how I use a persistent reminder, and that's only so that I can define what a persistent reminder is. And so, like I said, a persistent reminder is something that it's a notification that is going to be on my phone's lock screen all day or until I decide I don't want it in my way anymore or whatever. But that's kind of defeats the purpose. The purpose is it's something that I want to remember, like sort of all day. Okay. And so mindfulness is probably an easier one. It's like, look, I am good at being mindful. I'm good at it. What I'm not good about is remembering to be mindful. So like right now, if I think about it, it's like, is there anywhere else I need to be and anything else I need to be doing? And kind of there is, because I'm doing this right now. So 9 times out of 10, streaming on YouTube is probably not what I should be doing. But I want to sort of help the community. And when I have these technical things that pop up, I think if I just jump on here and do a quick testimonial, I think it might be useful for some people. Okay. And then you can also see these being recorded. So why would I don't know if I'm going to be doing any just pure videos. I'll probably just be doing all streaming, and then people can access those. Okay. So like I said, there's a persistent reminder that's on my phone all day, but I also may want to remember things, but not all day. But I want to remember them at a particular time of day. So as an example, there's this, hey, don't let yourself get too hungry, right? Or even just like, hey, lunchtime's coming up. Keep an eye on your hunger. Okay. And that's like a strategy, right? Just like being mindful is a strategy, but mindful is something that happens all day. But something about lunch and like, hey, don't forget that you have a lot of things that you can eat at home that are quick to prepare. And also don't even get yourself into that situation. But instead, maybe go prepare lunch. Okay. Early, prepare it early before you're even hungry, right? If you're not hungry by 12:30, you should start being suspicious and like go ahead and prep lunch for a 1 p.m. lunch. Okay. So anyway, this is information. It's not tasks. Okay. Now, why is that important? it's important because I want these reminders and this kind of like information. It's almost like I can be my own coach, right? And in fact, I have a metaphor that I think about in terms of like where I am a project manager. And my project team is like myself at different times of the past and the future. And so, and like if I think about, maybe if I'm the project manager for my future self, right? I could also say maybe I'm a coach for my future self as well, so it's like I can communicate with myself into the future. And so what I want to be communicated to me from my past self is going to be, tasks, okay, from like my previous self project management sort of thing. But then maybe a coach that says, hey, let me draw your attention to the fact that you might need to eat something or something, right? Okay. Now, here's the issue. The issue is that I want, the ability for things to appear on my phone's lock screen. And those things can include both types of things. So we'll call them like strategies and like tasks. Okay. Or we can even say like more pure information, like non-task information and tasks. Okay. I want both of those. Okay. Well, how can I do that? Well, the most direct way, and the way I have been doing it, is through just the calendar. And my calendar, there's the calendar application, and then the calendar application has multiple calendars. So I have, for example, I have a calendar for routine things. And I have a different calendar that's like the default calendar for anything new. And I can't remember what I call it. It's called, it's called functioning, but it's basically, anything that I create today will default and it's like pink. My routine stuff is like brown. And then I have this calendar called continuous reminders, or it's like these persistent reminders. These things are yellow, and I almost always have them turned off in terms of whether I can see them or not, because they'll muddy up my calendar because they're all day things, right? Okay. And it works great, because basically what it allows me to do is separate like these strategies and these things that happen all day from like the tasks, which that are really focused on like doing something at a particular time, and I need that visual to know what's going on, what might have I missed last hour, and what's coming up, and move things around. It works beautifully. Now, the issue of combining tasks and non-tasks, okay, like strategy, non-task information, onto the same calendar is it's just too much information. I might have like 7 things that I want to tell myself, even though there's only 1 or 2 things I need to do. There's another issue now that I think about it as well, which is when I start moving tasks around, and I'm also trying to move the information about those tasks around, it gets crazy because you're moving multiple things around and it just gets ugly. So here is my idea. There are 2 ways that I can do this. And what I thought was I could create a non-persistent reminder calendar. So a calendar that's called non-persistent reminders. And so the difference between non-persistent reminders and persistent reminders is that the non-persistent reminders are not all day long. So I may want to show them, and I can show them, but I can also filter them out. I could also have the non-persistent reminders together, like in the persistent reminder calendar, but then again, Then again, so that's a reminder that just popped up for 12 o'clock for me to drink water. Was there nothing else at 12 o'clock? Let me look. That was actually an alarm. If I look at my calendar, let me go all calendars. Okay, yeah. So there's nothing on my calendar for noon, right? This is part of the problem though, and I'll show you how I did this in Gmail. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to back up a second and let me go over to Gmail real quick. Okay. So here's the choice I'm going to make. I can have these things blended together with the continuous reminders and just try that for a while before doing anything rash and like creating another calendar, because it's just kind of, it can get unwieldy. But there are some calendars that I'm not even using, right? So anyway, option A is to just, why don't I just start by just putting these things together with the continuous reminders. And if I need to see them, I need to see them, but I don't really even want to move them around and stuff like that, right? So that's option A. Option B, create a new calendar called non-persistent reminders. And then that way I can see just them on a calendar view. I can not see them at all and just see my tasks, or I can see the tasks and the information about those tasks together. It just kind of gives me a little more flexibility. Now there's another thing I can do, which is if I look at 4 p.m. Oh, I don't have any of these at 12. Why don't I have any of these at 12? Wait a minute. Some of these say 2 minutes ago. Hold on a second. Yeah, wait, they're in here. Hold on. This is weird, and I know that this is going to break things. So before I go, okay, so this is tech talk, right? The purpose of these discussions is to get into the weeds about how technology works, how your phone works, and what the landmines are. And there are a lot of them, or pitfalls is another way to say it, right? Let me open these up. This is, okay, wait a minute. Oh, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. And this is actually kind of cool because I bet if I go over to Gmail, I'm in the snoozed view. Yes. Okay, this is kind of cool. So there's a distinction with Gmail. This is another thing that I just learned because I'm trying to figure out, like, wait, what's going on? Why are these? I was in Gmail, but I'm seeing these Gmail reminders on the lock screen. The reason I was wondering is because normally my Gmail notifications on my lock screen will go away immediately when I go into Gmail. But here's the trick. This is also a trick. This is kind of a neat little trick. I don't know why I would need to use this, but actually, I fucking love this because it will allow me to create new things. Hang on. Okay. Occasionally I'll pause, and rather than talking while I'm doing all that, I'll write things down, and then you just have to deal with me pausing on occasion. And I don't want to like preface everything all the time and stuff like that. Okay, you'll get used to me. Okay, so here, this is cool. Couple of things. First, what happened was there is a nuance here where let me contrast this with the way the calendar works. I'm not even sure if it's just opening. So there's so many nuances going on here, but let me just back up just a second and explain sort of a premise that will help to make this make sense, and why there are so many different ways that applications use notifications. And this is not even getting into all of the bugs, okay? There's so many bugs, but in all fairness, sometimes something might appear as though it's a bug, but it's not. It's a feature, and it really is like a legitimate, there is a rule behind it, okay? And so what I've been doing for the last 4 years is reverse engineering and testing the way the iPhone works. And it's a never-ending process. As you'll see right now, this is after 4 years of just giving myself every opportunity to test every little nuance and cranny and every nook and cranny of everything of how this shit works. I've just discovered, I'm discovering new things every single day almost. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let me start by saying that the calendar, the way that the calendar app uses notifications, a calendar event will be displayed on your phone's lock screen, right? The notification for that calendar event will persist or be displayed on your phone's lock screen until one of two things happen, assuming that you don't snooze it. Okay, so we'll talk about snoozing. Snoozing is all bets are off, right? But just as a matter of normal, like common practice, to simplify things, two things will happen if you don't interact with it. Two things are going to cause your calendar event to disappear from your lock screen. One is if the time span, the time frame of the event expires. So say if you have an event from noon to 1 p.m., that notification will disappear at 1:01 or a little bit after 1 kind of p.m. based on the refresh rate, what your operating system's doing, right? But basically, that's what you should rely on. That's the expectation that you should have, is that if you have an event on your calendar and it results in a notification. This is my drink water alarm. So I'm going to break this rule, although it's okay because of reasons. Anyway, so if you want a calendar event, or what you should expect on your lock screen vis-a-vis notifications of a calendar event, is that event will display on your lock screen during the duration of that event, right? So a 12 to 1 will show up on your phone basically from 12 to 1, and then it'll disappear. Okay, so it will disappear when the event is over. The other thing, or you go in and you open up that specific event. So if I can go into my calendar all day long and it won't mess up any of my calendar notifications. But if I open up that event, and if I tap on that event, which on the lock screen, which will open up that event, it's gone. Okay, because it makes sense, right? It's like, okay, you saw it, and so you have to be aware of that. You need to be aware if you go in there, even because you just want to see some detail about the event or whatever, you have to know that is gone now, right? So just behave accordingly to that. So that's the calendar. Now, Gmail's different, and I just found a little other nuance, and it does make sense. So here's how Gmail notifications work. And this is assuming certain settings. Like I use time sensitive, persistent, or no, I use whatever, doesn't matter. But I do, it probably is important to know, to clarify that I'm using the time sensitive switch for whatever. I know it means some stuff and it doesn't matter, but I just know that I'm doing that. So for Gmail, this is the way it works. When something is placed into your Gmail inbox, and that also includes something that was snoozed, okay, but now is no longer snoozed, right? So you snooze something for noon today, it won't be in your inbox, but then that's the way that snoozing works in Gmail. That's what it means. It means when you snooze something, it takes it out of your inbox and it puts it over, in the database, however the database does it, but moves it over into snoozed, and that's like its home or something. There's also like labels and all this other shit. So it picks it up from your inbox, and they also call it primary, and that's all because of Google Inbox being shut down and all this stuff. Anyway, take it away from your inbox, put it over into like this snoozed area of the database. And then when noon comes, it's like it puts it right back into inbox. So whenever something comes into your inbox, whether it's from someone else or it's no longer snoozed or whatever, that's when you get the notification that's when the Gmail will notify the notification engine. I'm assuming a few things. I'm an architect. I am a data architect, so I understand how data is stored and stuff. I can't really speak from any type of authority around how this is functioning, but in layman's terms, just to personify a little bit, to simplify it, it's like Gmail tells the iOS notification engine, put this on the lock screen, generate a notification for this. Now, one of the things I was testing earlier, things do go like from the notification to the notification center. So that's another selection I have that's very, very fucking important, because otherwise, after a period of time, whatever. So with a Gmail, I think it will stay forever until you go back into Gmail. But I just learned just now that if you can go into the Gmail another view, like I was in the snoozed view, I just happened to be in the snoozed view because I was explaining something else, and so it didn't kill it. But if you do go into your Gmail inbox, inside the application, into the inbox, then it's going to get rid of your notifications, which makes sense because it knows that you've seen them. And that's just the way it works. That's the way they've programmed it, right? So calendar's a little bit different. I can go into my calendar and I see all my events, but it's not going to kill my notifications for an event, which also kind of makes sense because it's the temporal nature of a calendar, and you're obviously looking ahead and behind. And, it's not like, oh, I know that I'm doing, it's smart. It's the way I would do it with the calendar, but Gmail's different. So why am I talking about this? Well, when I think about using like this idea of what I'm calling non-persistent reminders, or like non-task related things that I want to remember. What I've been toying with is sort of the idea of using Gmail for that. And so that, and there's a lot of advantages to this, but basically one of them, and I'm not saying it's the best thing, I'm just saying there are some pros, there are some benefits, and it's like having separation. So I can kind of see visually that, like, calendar things that are like tasks, and then Gmail things, which is just kind of like information or even communications from outside people. Just like I see things like text messages from other people, a little bit softer, kind of a communication thing, not like a schedule thing. I just like the way it feels, and it's distinct from the do this, like you're supposed to be doing this in this hour. And so I like that idea, and that's what I'm kind of trying to work through, is like, do I do this? What I don't like, I'm pretty sure I don't like this. I'm pretty sure I don't like having information and tasks all together in the same calendar inside the calendar app. I'm pretty sure if I do use calendar for delivering just information to myself, that I'm going to want to either use the persistent reminders calendar or have a total, like a third calendar, which is non-persistent reminders, right? Hopefully that makes sense. But the other, so, and I can do that. I can totally do that. And then I can see information about that being delivered to me on the calendar along with the task at the same time, or I can see just the information kind of reminders if I don't want to see the structure of the day, or just the structure of the day. But everything is going to be on my phone's lock screen, which is really where I want. That's the holy grail for me, is to be able to look at my phone, and that's all I need to look at. That's all I need to be doing. It's all I need to know. It's all I need to worry about. It's all I need to remember. It's all I need to work on. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish with this. But there's a big problem with Gmail in that I'm in the inbox. I'm in the Gmail inbox. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is kind of interesting because, and let's test it right now, right? But my concern about the Gmail is that if I go into my Gmail inbox, I'm going to lose the ability to see things on my lock screen. Now, for tasks, that's actually a good thing. And I moved, like I'm keeping, this is a new thing with 3.0 of my system, is that I'm actually storing tasks and I'm leaving all my tasks start with Gmail, but now I'm starting to leave some tasks in Gmail, especially things that are not must do tasks for today. I don't even move those over to the calendar anymore. I just have them because they can be done in any order because of binary non-sequencing. Because of binary non-sequencing, I don't need to do these things in any order. And if I don't do them in any order, why am I moving them around my calendar and all that stuff? I'll just fucking pick the one at the top. And if I'm just going to pick something at the top, then Gmail is a much better solution because it's just got an arbitrary order. I just pick whatever the fuck is on the top. And if I don't want to do that thing, or for some weird reason or something, then I'll just do the second thing, so it works. Okay. So that's Gmail, but now though, if I'm delivering information to myself and I have to go into the Gmail inbox, and then it wipes out these things I want to remember. That's the issue. So here's what I want to try, and then I'll follow up with what this meant. So I've got 3 things in Gmail right now, and this is just for edification, right? I've got pasta only when I can afford the time, right? So pasta takes a long time to make. It's not active time, but it's chronological time. And if I can get things done in between there and all this stuff, but the bottom line is that pasta is like kind of a big deal. So that's just a reminder. These are these reminders I was telling you about, the fast food things, and don't let myself get pizza hungry. So that's where these strategies I was telling you about are now getting to me, and it's on my lock screen from Gmail notifications. Now, if I go in, like I said, if I go into my inbox, this is kind of interesting though. They'll only die let me back up a second. If I'm in my inbox, okay, let's do two things. Let me write this down. I want to create a mail, and then okay. I'm going to test these things right now, and Gmail makes it very easy to test these kinds of things. I love Gmail. I would have programmed it so much different, but I have hindsight. They did it. But what they've done, even within their own limitations, they've made so many good design decisions that I just appreciate. Okay. So I have my Gmail notifications. I'm looking at them right now on my Locksync. Now, what I want to do now is I want to go create a mail. By the way, and I've been getting into the habit of this, you don't have to go into Gmail to create a mail. You can long press on your icon. And I started doing that it's just one long tap instead of tapping, waiting for the app to open, and then you see the compose button, but then it moves up because it says it's signed. It's just awkward. It's clunky. Plus, for things like this, like I might be able to send, because I'm capturing stuff all day. And if just capturing an idea is going to kill my notifications, that's going to kind of suck. Although I do have a breadcrumb, which is I can leave the window open and know that the inbox is there, but I just, no. Okay. But let's try this. So I'm going to hit the home button. That's going to take me back to the snoozed. Okay. So this all kind of relies on me staying in that snoozed view, which is kind of stupid, but I'm just curious. And there is a compose button in my snoozed view, so I can do that right now safely. But I still don't want to do that. But I think this is going to be safe because this is going to bring up a mail, and then I think it's going to return me back to the snoozed view because Gmail does that sort of layered approach where you can back out. So I'm going to long press compose, and I'm going to say to myself, and I'm going to say test. And I'm just going to send it. Now, it returns me back to the snoozed view. Okay. So I'm looking for two things. I'm looking to see if I still have my notifications. Yes. Did I get a notification of what I just sent to myself? And the answer is no. Okay. So I now have something in my inbox, but I did not receive a notification to myself that I sent to myself. So maybe I don't ever get those. I'm guessing I probably don't ever get those. And that kind of makes sense because it's outgoing and incoming. But what if, just for fun, let me close the Gmail app. It's going to be the same thing. Let's just do this anyway. It's going to do the same thing because it's either the app's open or something. And it just, I don't know. Test 2. Okay, so yeah, see, so I'm in there looking. Oh, so now I'm in. So fuck this. This whole train of thought is getting too complicated because I'm not going to just be snoozed or whatever. So using Gmail notification, and now I'm dead. All my Gmail just died. All my Gmail notifications just fucking died because I went in there. Now, would I have seen them? Like, they're not going to, you can't kill my Gmail notifications until I receive them. So unless I'm like creating a new Gmail right at noon and, you know, and I lose it all, it's probably not a big deal. But it's janky. It smells, you know, it just doesn't smell right. I don't like it. I'm trying to use something to send notifications to myself so that I can have them integrated into a single view, but it won't do that because whenever I go into it, it's going to kill it. And so I do think that the Gmail notifications are still good for if something is snoozed and it's not something that I'm super relying on. I don't, it's like, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff, but then I'm going to go in and work like at 4 p.m. I think it's nice because at 4 p.m. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at my phone, my lock screen, and there's going to be several Gmails there. So it's like, oh yeah, I've got several Gmails. I also have the badge count that's on my home screen, which is a major intersection. I haven't talked about intersections yet, but it's kind of nice because I can kind of look at them. Is there anything, do I even want to go into Gmail right now? But I just need to remember that Gmail has stuff that I actually need to do. And it also has, so I think, I hate this, but I think I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But I think let me back up a second. Another thing that Gmail has limitations on is that it's clunky to schedule things at a particular time of day. You do have your morning, afternoon, and night, which is very nice. And most of the things that I do in the evening are after 4, and they persist in the Gmail. So I like that, especially from a task perspective. From a information perspective, there's some benefits to having something persist inside the Gmail inbox and just accept the fact that the Gmail inbox is what I need to have. And I already have, it doesn't look like I have it anymore, but I did have a persistent reminder that pointed me to Gmail and said, look, make sure you know that there's shit going on in Gmail. It doesn't even have to be a persistent reminder. It could be at 4 p.m. I just throw something on a calendar, non-persistent reminder, or I just call it a reminder maybe. Probably just call it a reminder, and then you'd have a reminder and you have a persistent reminder or super reminder. So I might just call it reminder. And I have a reminder at a particular time. Here's drink water again. And I am going on an hour. And what time is it, right? Because one of the things I want to do is like look at the clock. It's 12:27. Okay, so it's 12:30. Let me do this. I want to refresh something just to make sure I'm covering myself. I think I can do this in the next 7 minutes and I'm going to land on something. In fact, let me just go ahead and tell you what I'm going to do because I've made a decision. And do I have a 12 o'clock? Yes, I have. Let me do set get the hell off live stream alarm for 7 minutes from now.
Your get the hell off live stream alarm is set for 12:35 p.m.
That way I can that'll be like right at an hour. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create, after doing all this and exploring all this and explaining this to you, by the way, I know this appears as though I'm just like splitting hairs, thrashing, overthinking all this, but I'm not. It's just that I have to bring you up to speed with all of the things that I know so that I can even experiment with this stuff. But the testing of this stuff, as you saw, took like 1 minute, right? Or for 2 minutes or something. So this is what I'm going to do. I need to remember things. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a reminder calendar. Doing so will allow me to target any time of day to remember information, right? This is not tasks. I've got specific tasks in Gmail that are not temporal in nature, and then I've got temporal tasks in Calendar, okay? This is information delivery, just strategies, goals, remember, coaching, self-coaching, delivering information on my lock screen. So I'm going to do that with the calendar. I'm going to do it in a new calendar I'm going to create called Reminder, or I might repurpose another calendar because I'm only really using 2, but I've already got like 6 or something like that. And then I'm going to put all that information in there. So I have the information I told you that I had in Gmail, which is like the pizza thing, the yogurt thing, like the pasta thing. I'm just going to move that over into the calendar. And then that way it's not mixed in with my Gmail stuff, because my Gmail stuff does have strategies, but not for implementation throughout the day. It's just to remember like these strategies. And then I've got to decide either, sometimes I just need to remember a strategy once in the morning and then I just kind of don't even need it again, but whatever. Okay. I have a whole process for Gmail that has this morning review that I conduct. But I don't want strategies just sitting in Gmail so that I'm going in there and it's like I need to look at them, but then there's also stuff I don't want that. I want my lock screen to have two things: information and tasks. That's it. And it's stuff I need to remember. And then if I ever need to move anything, the calendar makes it very easy because I can just drag things down. I can tap, edit, send it to the next hour. Because if, for example, I need to remember something about the gym, but I'm not going to the gym yet or something, then I can just, okay, I know I'm not going to do that this hour, so I'm going to throw that information so it pops up for me when I'm in the gym. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it right now. In fact, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take these things. Let's do it right now. This is all that needs to be done. I am going to open up this "Do not let yourself get pizza hungry" copy. Going into the calendar. And what I'm going to do is for the noon hour, which is past me already, but that's what I want it to be every day, right? So at noon every day, oopsies, hang on. I don't know what I just fucked. I hope I didn't fuck this up. I accidentally touched this. I just fucked up my mindfulness thing. I accidentally tapped on it because it's stupid fucking yellow and it takes up the whole goddamn screen and you can't not tap on the motherfucker. Hang on, let me fix this real quick. So I'm going to make this mindfulness stuff like 12:45, right? In fact, I can even do it differently than that. I can say edit 12:35. That's what I'm going to do. And it ends at 11:05. Should be 11:55 p.m. That should be fine. July 9, 12:35 p.m. to 11:55 p.m. That's right. A continuous reminder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that fucker because it's a pain in the ass, right? Because it's just in the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and just create this separate information reminder just so I can turn it on and off. I already know that I don't want it in the continuous reminders. I already know that I need to have it separate from that. And I already know that I want to keep it separate from this, from the normal task stuff, right? So let me add a calendar right now. It's like, whoa, wait. What is this? I have a bunch of calendars already. Medical, default color. I don't want to add another calendar. In fact, I'd like to delete some of these, but I have to go on I need to go on my, well, I can do it here actually, but I'm not going to do that right now. Let me just steal one of these. There's a default color, not routine, that's blue, which is actually not the truth. It's actually the functioning one, which is also wrong. Let me just grab that one right now. The functioning one, yeah, I'm going to keep it called, I don't care, functioning, because I don't actually ever select it and I never deselect it because it's the new things that I add during the day. So it's like let me just change this. Hang on. I'm going to call this default calendar. Okay, that's the pink one. Done. So now it's called the default calendar. And then I'm going to take this dark blue one and I'm going to make this one reminder. And this says, get the hell off the live stream. I'm going to snooze that, even though I am going to get done right when I do this. I've also got this mindfulness thing that I wanted to bring back. That's good. Now, the calendar name on this one's going to be called Reminder. So I'm going to say Reminder. And fortunately, I can put slashes in here. /strategy. Right? And I'm just going to go ahead and throw the word goal in here just because. You know, it could be goal or habit. Can I do habit? I like the word thought of habit because that's some of the time I'm doing so. Okay. And the color is dark blue. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Now I've got this reminder, strategy, whatever, right? So I'm not adding a calendar. So now I'm going to say done. And now I'm going to go try this again now that that's out of my fucking way. At noon to 1, I'm going to paste. I think I can paste this still because I still have it. Yeah, don't let yourself get pizza hungry. 12 to 1. We're going to make it the reminder, strategy, goal, habit, and we're going to make it repeat every day. Add. Now, I'm not going to see that today because I'm adding it after the fact. But there it is. And not only is it there, but it's a different color, so I like that. So if I do have them together, I know that there's information versus this. In fact, I've got another one that I probably want to change. I don't want to do it right now, but I can do all this. Okay, let's go back to Gmail and let's delete that one that I just saw. Now I've got the fast food thing. Copy that. Gmail makes it very easy to copy and paste stuff because you don't have to go in and edit like a view or anything. You just copy it. You can select it right there. It's so cool. I don't know why they did it that way, but it's really fucking cool. So copy, and we're going to do the same thing. Same time frame because it's like lunchtime. Paste. 12 to 1. We're going to select the reminder. And then we're going to say every day, add. So now I've got another little blue thing. Then I'm going to go back to Gmail. And there's my breadcrumb because it's there. So I'm going to delete it now. Then we're going to do here's the alternative. I have something in my Gmail that's called alternative to persistent reminders to non-persistent reminders. And that's what we just did. So I actually did something that was in Gmail. Okay. Now we got the pasta only when I've got a lot of time to kill or things to do that are short in duration and I give a fuck about. So I'm going to do the same thing. Noon to 1. Paste. Every day. And the reminder calendar. And now I've got 3 blue things. So I know their information because they're blue. I've got another thing that's green, but I do use this thing called artificial constraints or like agency. And like that's why I say I can be free from 11 to 1, which by the way, I've been doing this. So that's kind of cool. I do have stuff I need to do for work, but this was a nice break from work. And it's kind of lunchtime. And so now I just did this. So in 1 hour, I explained all of the intricacies around how the iOS notification engine works, how the calendar app uses notification, how Gmail uses notification. I also tested some specific scenarios that came to mind that might be relevant in using the Gmail generated notifications, which created some issues. And so the purest way, the purest and smoothest way to just generate notifications on your lock screen with the ability to move things around and change it is calendar. It's period. Like Gmail does generate notifications. They can be used and useful in some scenarios like I talked about. But the fact that, the biggest killer is just as one example, a big killer is that Gmail notifications will disappear as soon as you go and you see the inbox of Gmail, because Gmail says, oh, this person has viewed their inbox, so they don't need to be notified of these new things that have come into the inbox. And that's perfect. That's really fine. It's really fine. It works. It's good for my purposes. And I may still use that for strategies and information and habit forming stuff. It's because there might be situations where I kind of want that. I sort of want to just kind of throw something out there, and knowing that it's going to be automatically cleaned up because I'm going to end up in what is a busy intersection. I call intersections. Gmail is one of those. It's a busy intersection. So, that might be great if I just kind of want to toss something out there. Gmail is just very soft, not as reliable, not anything really critically important, but maybe just something that pops up. And it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of a cool little, I forgot about that little thing. Maybe I'll go check that website or something. Just stuff that just doesn't matter very much, right? But maybe a fun little thing to remind myself about. Maybe it's easier to go throw like a Gmail instead of doing a calendar event. So it's there. It's a tool, and I would not be surprised if there was a way to use that. But for these habit forming things, and this important information that I need about my nutrition and medical things and stuff like that, calendar all the way. And I've been pushing on the calendar a lot. With the 3.0 version of my system, I've been upping the ante with notifications on calendar, because I haven't been using the auditory and banner notifications to draw my attention to the fact that there is something. I was always proactively looking. Let me back up a second. I was using alarms, like an hourly alarm, to be proactive and making sure that there was nothing there for the current hour, or to do the things that were on the current hour, or even to remind me in advance about things that I might want to forward into the next hour. And it worked well. It was just that what happened was I decided that I didn't want an alarm for when there's nothing going on. So like if there's nothing if I've done everything for this hour and there's nothing going on in the next hour, in fact, say there's nothing going on until 4 in the evening or 4 in the afternoon, why do I want these fucking alarms going off? All I'm going to do is desensitize myself to the alarm. And so I started thinking, well, maybe when I add something to my calendar, I could make sure that I have an alarm, or that there's an alarm already there. And then I started thinking, well, hold on a second. Why don't we just use the calendar notification, the audible notification with the banner? And at that point, I was wanting to use the persistent banner, but the persistent banner doesn't work. And the persistent banner, it works, but if you have multiple events for the same hour, it's very painful, because the persistent banner comes down. It won't go away until you tell it to go away. Then it takes like 5 seconds before it does the next one. And then it's like, oh fuck, now you got to get that out of your way. And then 5 more seconds. And then here's the third, it doesn't work. If you do the temporary, it's real fast. It's like 1, 2, 3, and you won't even see it if you're not paying attention. But if you are, then it's fine. So that's where that all went. And that's where I am now. It's like, let's see if this can work. I can always there's nothing that stops me from using the alarm as a safety net for anything that is critical. But I also have these states that I'm in. Like I am in a state of what I call carte blanche today, which means there is nothing critical today. If I was sick today, nothing would matter. I have stuff to do for work, but even so, I don't have anything to do today for work. I do have work. It will pile up. I'm very curious, and I've got to get some stuff, and I've got access to some people. So, I kind of want to get this work done, but it's not critical. But it is something that I want to do. So if I'm in a state of carte blanche, then really all I need to do is just more focus on my needs, wants, and feelings in any given moment, and making sure that I'm comfortable, that I can be mindful and I can be at peace, and I shouldn't be experiencing any anxiety because I'm free. I'm okay to be doing this live stream, for example. So anyway, that's that. Okay. And so this, I'm going to wrap up by saying that this is, I'm doing these all the time. I haven't really figured out whether I want to really do these, like how many hours I can do these. I'm definitely going to be doing something like this where I want to share something and I have like a new thought and it's like, hey, let me share this with people. I don't know if I'm going to be going backward and doing a whole lot of like everything that's in my book and in my glossary and stuff like that. I just don't think that's very likely unless it's a very slow Friday or Saturday night or something like that. But I do like to jump on here and share these things, and people can see, can view these at any time on YouTube. And then if somebody happens to catch me, they can catch me. And if I do really want to do something, I will schedule it. I'm going to schedule, how do I say this? I will use the scheduler in YouTube if I really kind of want to buckle down and like, look, I'm going to do a live stream and I can commit to it. If that's the case, I'm a little more impulsive than that. I don't want to do a live stream if I'm not in the mood to do it. But if I'm in the mood to do it, it's great. So I don't know. You can subscribe. And then I think if you're probably subscribed, you'll see things when I schedule something. And I'll try to do it. You know, maybe if it's even in like a half an hour or an hour beforehand, and I'm like, I know I'm feeling good, and like other plans have fallen through, and maybe I can just do this, because I get a lot out of this. I actually solved a problem for myself by thinking out loud through this with you guys. So have a good day. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.